guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Phoebe and this is my Flosstube channel, Moonshine Stitchery. My last name is Moon. And today I'm going to be giving you a 2-week update of everything that I've been stitching on in the last couple weeks. This is my holiday episode. I have a Christmas sweater on and because I'm not going to be filming again until after Christmas. So happy holidays to everyone who is celebrating the Christmas season. I did get a bit of stitching in that felt very wintry to me in the last couple weeks, but I haven't really had that like bug to just stitch Christmas a lot right now. So I don't know, we'll see in the next week and a half if I just feel really pushed to stitch Christmas. We shall see. But I'm going to share with you all of my works in progress, my WIPs for the last 2 weeks. I have 2 fully finishes. No finishes on their own, but let's start with fully finishes because Joy wants to come show what she helped me finish. She did help me finish 2 pillows. Oh, and I do have a finish that is framed as well, so let's do that. Alrighty. Hi guys, we made a couple more pillows. Why don't you show the pillows?
So this one's the first one.
So this is Hello Halloween by Sue Hillis, and
it's a hat.
I finished this in October and Joy picked the fabric for me. Looks like this.
Yeah, but also guess what? It's a hat.
It's a hat. Also, Joy sewed this. Whoa! Joy actually did the sewing. She likes to help me sew the pillows. So she helped me cut it out. She helped me pin it. Then she sewed it and then she turned it inside out and then she stuffed it. The only thing she didn't do was finishing on the bottom to close the hole. But, and it's just filled with polyfill. So.
Oh, and I didn't stitch.
Oh, that's right. You didn't stitch it, but you did help me with the fully finished. So
I stitched it, but not cross-stitched it.
So this is fully finished number 1. Now you can show them fully finished number 2. So this one is Blackbird Designs. Okay, hold still right there. Blackbird Designs She Sights Bird. This is number 3 in the loose feathers pattern. And turn it around to the back. It has the same backing fabric. I think I just got it at Joann's. This one I think I got at Joann's as well as the other 2. So this is the 3rd one in the series that I've done. I've been stitching them all with the called for flosses. You can turn it over again, sweetie.
Yeah, for all the bird pillows, she likes to use this fabric.
And so they all have the call for flosses. They are all stitched 1/2 on 32 count. And so yeah, that's number 3. And Joy helped me with all the same things. She helped me sew it.
Number 3.
This is number 3 in the loose feathers series. Okay, so now Joy is gonna go do something. Come here. So she's gonna say so long, but thank you so much for joining us today. Happy holidays from Joy. All right, go do something fun, baby. Here is my 3rd fully finish. This is Folksy Thomas from Teresa Kogut, and I just got this frame at a thrift store. This Folksy Thomas pattern is not perfectly square, but this frame was 9.5 by 9.5. So it's a little bit, there's a little more edging on the top and bottom than side to side, but I looked for a while and I could never find like the perfect size for this. That was just way too difficult. So, I mean, I guess what I could have done is stitched a little something, like pulled this down and stitched a little bit more or something, but it's in like these little pocket edgings. So, I mean, anyway, it's fine. It's not a perfect square, but I put it in a square frame and it'll be fine. So this is stitched on a piece of 40 count, dyed by me, and it's used all of the called for DMCs and specialty, called for specialty flosses. And it was so fun to stitch. I was hoping to be more together and with it to have this framed by Thanksgiving so I could put it up, but that is just not how it happened for me this year. So, and that's okay because, you know, our lives aren't perfectly scheduled out for things to fit exactly when they, feel like they should, to have the optimum timing, but yeah. So anyway, I just stretched this myself and then laced it, and this is not even under the glass, it's in front of it. So it's just got some tacky glue, so I could take this off if I wanted to really easily and put something else in there. So anyway, yeah, that's it. I love Folksy Thomas, and as you know, I love Teresa Kogut, so that is my third fully finish. Okay, we're gonna get into my WIPS, my works in progress, and I'm just gonna be pulling from my pile in no particular order. So the first thing I pulled is my birthday stitch, and I am a big Jeannette Douglas fan because I love specialty stitches. I love her colors, I love her content. Everything she designs is just so fun for me. And so this is Seaside stitches. I have done 2 other sets of hers that are in this same kind of format, and this is the one that I started for 2024's birthday. So I stitch on this on the 7th of every month. And this time, what did I do? I put in these satin stitch little fishies. I did some more of these over 1 sea stars, and I put in these beads in here. And that is basically all I did. So I just worked on finishing out this. So it's almost, that band is almost completely done. I just need to do more of that sea star. So if you've never tried one of these Jeannette Douglas patterns, it's a fun way to learn new specialty stitches. She has you start in the middle and then you build out and you do border and then border and border and border. And I really, really like that layout and that format of placement, and you just watch the pattern grow in that way, and it's really fun. So I like it a lot. This is a piece of 32 count even weave that, or Lugana, that I over dyed with some pinks and blues to go with this kind of summery feel. And so we have over 1 in here, but we also have 2 over 2, just depends. Like the full crosses, I'm gonna do 2 over 2, or the full stitches. And then a lot of the specialty stuff is just 1 strand, but yeah. So that's Seaside Stitches by Jeannette Douglas. The next WIP I'm going to share is Emeline Hotchkiss from Cross Stitch Antiques. As you can see, that line goes all the way back there, but now I'm going to fold the fabric because we don't need to see that whole line. And then it's easier for me to hold. So this was one of the projects that I drew with you last time randomly from all of my WIPs to stitch on in this 2-week period of time. But we're gonna set that like that. So I mainly worked on this band right here. I finished out this tree, got all of that in there, and then this is all totally new, I believe. So this, there's a few little lines of the yellow creamy color that need to go in there, but for the most part that's done. Then I put in this, I guess it's a dog, it's a thick neck dog, and then I started putting in this flower, brought down this, this green in here is in here a lot. So lucky that I like that green. Actually, I kitted this up from Stash, so I picked all the colors, so I'm gonna like them because I picked them. So this is stitched on a piece of 40 count dyed by me, over dyed by me, and this is not one of the colors currently on my website. This one's a little darker and dirtier. I need to firm up a recipe for this one. So, anyway, so it's stitched from Stash. I think I maybe had heirloom gold, or maybe it was Grecian gold that's used in all of this vining up here. It's a very yellowy green, and everything else is just pulled from Stash because I didn't have any of the other called for colors. I wish I'd had more time to work on this week, but I prioritized a few other WIPs because I was having a lot of fun filling out this border. So probably the next time, or not border, this band. So the next time I get this out, I'm just gonna keep working on over through there. These are both alphabet bands, and I really enjoy alphabets. However, when they go with different colors a lot, sometimes I can get tired out of that because you have a lot of switching flosses. So I'm stitching this one with Contented Needleworker Kim and Audrey from Stitch Stitch Bead. I'm not stitching it with them, but they started it, and so I started it when I saw them start it because I really liked it. So yes, that is Emeline Hotchkiss, Cross Stitch Antiques. Next up, let's talk about my project that I stitch on every day, and that is my oldest WIP, which happens to be Garden Prelude from Mirabilia. Here's how she's looking. Her name is Elizabeth, and I've been working down here in her dress. I saw that Colleen has this one on the go as well. In fact, I have a couple of the same WIPs as her. I'll link her channel down below as well. But anyway, so I'm in the dress, and the last time you saw this, I was probably in here. That's all done. I'm slowly working my way across and just like filling in anything that's missing. So I have a few little squares here that I need to, those are some combined threads. So I'm usually less inclined to do those, but so it's been a lot of green, a lot of light seafoam green stitching I've been doing lately. I will be excited to get back to a little bit of purple, but I'm just kind of going like this. So this project I stitch 2 lengths of thread every day, no matter what I'm going to be stitching on for that day, so that I get a little bit of progress on my oldest WIP. Let's get Elizabeth in there more fully. So that I continue to get progress on her so that eventually she will be done. And I just love her so much. This is stitched on 32 count raw white shelf natural or raw. I think it's natural. This was back before I was dyeing any of my fabric, or I would have dyed something for her, but that's okay. And the skin, it's been a while since I talked about anything up here because I did all of this a long time ago, but the skin is all done over one. And then I love the colors in this. I haven't done any beading in a long time since I made this my 2 strands a day project, which since this is 2 over 2 on 32 count, I'm already doing 2 strands every time I pull out a color, but I'm doing 2 lengths of each thing that I'm stitching each time. So, yeah, you guys see her a lot, but I love her, and eventually she will be done. So I had 3 new starts since my last video. This first one is Winter Swan, and I started it with Heidi from WIPS and Kits, Kim from Contented Needleworker Kim, and a number of other people on Instagram. And this is my little start on that day. And I just think it's so pretty. I stitched it, I kitted it up completely from stash. This is also just a piece of 46 count that I over dyed. I wanted it to be nice and small and dainty. And a bunch of those ladies are either already done or nearly done with this one. So it's a quick stitch. As you can see, I haven't put in any of the swan yet, and none of the white has gone in yet, but yeah, this was start number 1. And I just love it. Heidi has already finished 1 from this series. And so after watching her stitch it, then when they said they were going to start this one, I was like, okay, yes, I'm in this time. Also on my nails today, this is Sugar Plum Teeny from Moonshine Manny, which is my nail polish brand, in case you're wondering. Whenever you see nail polish on my nails, I usually only have it on one hand because this hand is always used to mix the polish. So it doesn't really make sense to give myself a nice manicure on this hand because it will just come off by coming in contact. And then this is another polish too. I usually have different polish on my thumb versus my fingers because I take photos of my polish on my fingers, and my thumb I often use to try out new formulas and swatching new things. So that's why my nails can't make up their mind what mood they're in. On the 4th of December, I stitched on my patriotic stitch, which I stitch on the 4th of every month. This, I'm stitching on a piece of 40 count that I over dyed, and it is still turning out huge. But this is Americana Sailboat Sampler from Artful Offerings. Let's just pull that out of the way there. I am slowly but steadily making progress on this, and I'm loving it more and more the farther I get into it. So this time, I believe I was just filling in some of these stripes. Oh, no, that's wrong. I finished this anchor, and then this is all new, basically, most of that. And then this is definitely all new. These beautiful gold leaves here. And then it looks like I was putting in a little bit of stripe using up the white that I had from there. So actually, this is where I was working this time. You're like, no, that anchor looks new to me. I think like half of the anchor was in there, and then all of this is new. So that was really fun to work on. So you'll see this again in another month, but this is my patriotic stitch that I keep on the go. So I always have something patriotic to stitch on. And I believe none of these are called for flosses. There might be one, like one of the golds or something. This was the other project that I drew randomly with you last time for me to stitch on. And this is Memories of the Past from Hands Across the Sea. And this time I just wanted to fill out as much of that center verse that I could. And as you can see, it was not a massive amount, but it was nice actually to just have the one color and just to keep going in the one color. So I have the whole first line done. So when time who steals our years away, and there's a big like dot, 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 shall steal our pleasures too, dot, 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 the memory of the past. So yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. So this project is stitched on a piece of coffee tea dyed linen from Heidi from WIPS and Kits. It's a 40 count. And so this one's very special to me for that reason. And I'm using all of the called for DMCs with this, which DMCs for Hands Across the Sea just looks so good. Michael from Davis Quilts and Stitching. If you don't follow him, if that's not the exact name of his channel, I'm sorry, Michael, I'll put it right here, but it will also be linked down below. He does a lot of stitching on Hands Across the Sea and a lot with DMC, and it's just stunning. All of his projects are just gorgeous. So definitely go check out his channel. But this was another one of my random whips. So as you can see, I don't have like a massive amount of Christmas stitching yet. I'm feeling very Christmassy. I even got my Christmas tree put up like 2 days after Thanksgiving. I'm definitely in the spirit, but I'm not feeling like super zeroed in on Christmas stitching yet. Okay, 2 more new starts and a whip, and then we'll be done with the stitching. Okay, so let's see which way this faces. I think this faces this way. Okay, my next new start is another one that I started with Kim and Heidi. And this one is Felicidades Recuerdos. And I think it's number 1. And this one is small and cute and has, I think it's like 6 floss colors. So all of which are pulled from my stash because I didn't have any of them. And this is on a piece of, a little extra piece of Vintage Country Mocha that I had, 40 count. Sorry, let me just get that needle out of the way. This project is really fun. The border is so cool. So, but this is my one day of starting. I think we started this on the 8th, and then that's all I stitched on this for right now. So Heidi and Kim are almost done, if not already done by the time you're watching this. So yeah. You will see more from this, more about this project on their channels and their Instagrams. So they are speeding away. Sorry, I said 2 starts and 2 whips, but actually the final whip I'm going to talk about is the one that I've been stitching on for the last 4 or 5 days, which is why I didn't put more work into this or like my other Christmas stitching, because I was stitching on Winter Rose Manor. Just kidding, don't be mad, I found another whip. I can't forget this one. This is the one that I stitch on every Monday with Heidi and Kim. Kim may be done by the time I have this video up because she had a teeny tiny bit left to go on one of the borders, and then she was done with her Louisa Barney. So the 3 of us stitch on this every Monday. We Zoom and stitch on it, and she is just about to finish the whole thing. I am in the top left-hand corner, as you can see, and that's a page complete pretty much. And then I'm working down this page. And as you can see, I did not complete that page. I didn't go in here, but then I went down to the 3rd page and I've been working in this motif. So the past 2 Mondays, that's what I accomplished. Oh, another needle in there. Actually, I remember I keep one in here because we always stitch on this every Monday. These colors in here are just, oh, I love them. The teals coming in So, so nice. And those rich golds. So I'm stitching this on a piece of 40 count that I over dyed. This big old sheet. It'll be like what, this big when it's done. So it won't be this whole fat half, but it's too big for a fat quarter on 40 count. And then this is being stitched with a needle in the haystack conversion with 103s that Heidi and I are both using. Kim is using DMCs. So if you love how hers is looking, just do the DMCs. Easier. So, yes. I love my Reflet de Soie Louisa Barney. I started it because I had seen it around and then I saw Kim stitching on it back in the day. And then I was like, oh my gosh, Heidi, we have to start that. So, yes. Okay, this is Pretty Little Paris from Satsuma Street. Let's get this up here. So I stitch on this on the 10th of every month because my husband and I's anniversary is April 10th. So the 10th is a good way for me to celebrate our love each month. We took a trip to Paris and London a summer and a half ago. So I've been stitching this series from Satsuma Street. If you're new, I stitched Pretty Little Hawaii, then I stitched Pretty Little London, now I'm doing Paris. And I think these Paris colors might be my very favorite out of all of them. So pretty. So I'm continuing to stitch this series on 16 count Aida from Hobby Lobby that I just over dyed. Well, the last one I did not over dye. I think the first one I did on plain white. The last one I did on that printed fabric that kind of looked like a stormy sky. And this one I gave this very soft sagey modeling. So this is being stitched with the call for DMCs 2/1 on this 16 count. And it's coming along. This is just one more day of stitching each month, and eventually it will get done. So you will see this again in another month. My third and final new start. Heidi finished her whole first day, and I did not. So if you want to go check out her most recent video, I think she showed this whole first square. So this is Carriage House Samplings, Christmas at Hawk Run Hollow, which I received the pattern from a lovely viewer who thought that I might stitch it, and she was in fact correct. The colors on this chart are so beautiful, but also I kitted it up from Stash. So like this flower, that's all one color of floss. So if you're interested in my conversion, what I end up, I do like to make some interesting choices like that. But at the same time, you know, I've got these golds in here that are very straightforward. Some colors that are very straightforward, but this is a color, let me grab it, Cottage Garden Threads. And it's called Mistletoe. And it's number 1008, but it's very Christmassy. And I was like, you know what? I haven't had a reason to use this floss, but it's gonna go great in this pattern because I saw all of the other flosses and it does go in nicely with it. However, I'm gonna have to change it up just a little bit already because I think the whole, most of the peacock down here is to be in the green that was called for here, the tealy color. So I'm not gonna do the peacock in this, but places where it makes sense to put a Christmassy flower in or something that can just look very Christmassy, I'm gonna do that. But I'll probably just sub out, you know, like this color or something for the peacock. Maybe this one, whoops. This is Deep Forest from JU Design. So this is Kit Up from Stash. I just have a lot of stuff from different projects that I used to buy the floss that was called for, but then you end up with a lot of floss and I don't need to keep buying it. I can just use what I have from Stash and it makes it more fun for me. This is a piece of Moonshine Stitchery Beach. and I am going to be stitching this not all on the same piece. I'm going to stitch them each individually and either create a little wreath, which I saw on Instagram with them, or just have them be little pillows in a bread bowl kind of thing. So yes, this was just one day of stitching. This was on the 1st of December, and this one whips up really quickly. So I love it. This is 40 count. So I'm doing 1/2. Okay, my final whip. This is the project that I've been stitching on for the last 4 or 5 days. I decided not to do any Halloween stitching. I talked about in the last video that I was probably just gonna skip over that. This is my winter Rose Manor, and she's getting very close to a finish. And so when I got this out, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna stitch on her until she's done. Guess what? No. So, okay, here's what I did do. Here's what I do. I filled in all the snow. Like, pretty much none of the snow was there before. That's totally new. I did all the windows. They are completely done. And I only had there was maybe one outlined or something, and that was it. I started filling in the conch, and this is stitched on. I am going to be able to use the conch because I overdyed this piece of even weave with this lovely blue. And there's dog hair on it. And so I started filling in the conch, but I also started popping in this bird because I was like, okay, if I get everything that's in the house that's not conch, and then I can just fill in everything. So as you can see, I have a little bit of the edge of the door that needs to go in there, but then this can all be filled in with conch. And then the bird, obviously. This is the outlining of one of the bird's tails. It's gonna go like this. So really there's a plant that goes here, there's the rest of this gate, and then I need to do this bird, there's a bird here and a snowflake, and then fill in the house. No, okay, and also this whole bottom of the border. And then this whole border. I don't know why I was like, oh yeah, I'll just stitch on this till my next Flosstube. It might be done, we'll see, we'll go for the finish. Yeah. There's a lot of stitching on this piece. This is also one of my oldest whips, but I'm loving stitching it. So we'll see. I have to see how I'm feeling. Also, this piece is very easy to stitch on, this even weave. Very, very easy. And I'm doing 1/2 on this 32 count, so it's a little sparser looking. But I just don't like to stitch with 2/2 if I can help it. So, yeah. I really enjoyed myself. Really enjoyed myself. This is a Winter Rose Manor from With Thy Needle and Thread. Sorry if I didn't say that earlier. Did I even say that Winter Swan is With Thy Needle and Thread? I don't know if I did. I apologize. But yeah, that's what I've been working on. Had less stitching time than I thought that I would, but you know, that's how it always goes. Has my initials in there. Yeah. This is with all the called for flosses, with the exception of Roasted Marshmallow is light khaki, which I love it in this piece. It has such beautiful variegation. It's in all of there, it's in the snow, and I've used up a whole skein, and I'm halfway through a second skein of it. Even though I'm not doing 2/2, because it's on 32 count, and this thing's gonna be huge. It's gonna be huge, as Tim would say, from the East Coast, but it's also just eating up floss. So anyway, I love it. It's very fun to stitch on, so we'll see. It might come out again before Christmas. It might not. Let's wait and see what I randomly draw. Let's see how I'm feeling, you know? That's how it goes. Okay, before we get into plans, I did go to the Jingle Ball. I hopped into a couple of stitchy rooms, but it ended up being a very busy week for me. I didn't get to do any of the whip speed dating, but I did watch the ballroom videos that were filmed by the makers, and I did do some shopping. So I'm gonna do a little Christmassy montage here of the patterns that I picked out. I feel like there were quite a few. So let's look at my Jingle Ball haul. All right, so that was my haul. Let's talk about plans. So just today, when I'm filming this on the 15th, Teresa Kogut just dropped her new, I think it's part 12 of her hometown sal. So I will be stitching on that today. After I'm done filming, I'm gonna stitch on the hometown sal because I like to try to keep up with that. I'm already a week behind, I'm a month behind. So I'm gonna be stitching on part 11, which looks like this, super, super cute. So that's, half of it will be done once I finish part 12. So that's booking along. So that's part of my plans to stitch on that. These next couple, sometime in the next couple weeks. We'll have to see if it gets done today and tomorrow. Not today. I won't be able to get that much stitching done today. Although I am going to go watch the Steelers and the Eagles game here with Tim in just a little bit. But my college student is coming home for Christmas. Actually, he's coming home for like this week. And then he and his brother are going to go to his dad's house next week. And then they'll come back Christmas night to my house. And we maybe get to have him a little bit more at that point. We'll see. But so me and Tim, but also his sisters very much have been missing him. So we're excited. Okay, besides the 15th, then I have all the way till the 21st where I can get stitching done on whatever I'm vibing on. Whether it be Christmas, whether it be some random draws I'm about to do, we shall see. But on the 21st, I'm going to stitch on Fractor Flowers for Honor. My daughter, she picked that project for me to stitch on her birthday. And then the next stitchy day is Christmas. So, but that will be Christmas. Depending on what our activities are that day. It'll probably be a pretty chill day, but still, you know, who knows. But I'll stitch on something Christmassy that day. We'll see. I don't think I'm going to pick right now what it's going to be. And then by the time my next video will be filmed, I'll be filming that on the 29th. So really I only have like 2 specific stitchy days. So that's pretty open for me for the next couple weeks. That's pretty cool. Because on the 30th is when I stitch on Joy's project, but that won't be till after I film the next video. So, that means it's time to pick, not prick. Prick her finger on the spindle of the spinning wheel. Let's pick something from my 2024 Mania. Speaking of Mania, I am going to do it again this year, and that means that this list will need to be updated slightly. Whoops, I just clicked on something. So this has all 24 projects that I stitched on in May of 2024. A lot of them, there was maybe like a couple new starts, but most of them were previous WIPs. So anything that has a dot by it means that it's finished. So dang, I didn't get a lot finished this year, but these are all like big projects. So let's see which project is my random draw. Number 19, Vintage Christmas Alphabet. Okay, so I have 3 little finishes on this. But so I think if C is not completely done, I'll finish up C, but I might need to start D. So that will be super fun. Here's what that looks like. So I think the next pattern has D, E, F. I have all of them. And that is from Jan Hicks Creates. So that is my first random project, which will come out, and that works perfectly because that is Christmas. And then the next way that I choose WIPs is on my Tiny Decisions app. And it has all of my WIPs, and the WIPs get blanked out when I roll them. At least it's supposed to. So, Hannah Sanderson. Exciting. Okay, so Hannah Sanderson looks like this. And so I will be getting her out. She has a lot of text, and I love it, and I'm very excited. So those 2 you will see for sure next video. I will of course have more progress on Garden Prelude, and then those items that I just showed you. And if I decide I don't want to stitch on something from what we just talked about, then I will pick a Christmas WIP probably. So that's that. I am now going to talk about reading. So I like to listen to audiobooks a lot while I am either working on my nail polish brand, if I'm dyeing linen, or while I'm stitching, or I work from home, so that makes it easy. I can be listening to something all the time because no one's trying to talk to me usually until my kids get home from school. So, you know, I'm doing chores, I'm working, whatever I'm doing, I can be listening. So it's very convenient for me. So I can go to my Audible history. I think the last thing that I was talking about was reading Red Sister by Mark Lawrence. I finished that. It is about a group of young girls who are being raised in a convent, but along with like some spiritual learning that they're getting, they're also learning magic and physical fighting because in whatever world they live in, that's part of the society that you can send your children to the convent to learn different martial arts and different magics and stuff. And I found it to be pretty interesting. I think I gave it like a 4 out of 5. And then I read the next one, which is called Gray Sister. And so basically in their, not hierarchy, but like the way that they divide up the different learnings, the Red Sisters are like the physical combat. The Gray Sisters, I believe, are the ones that use like, not telepathy, but it's more like the magic spells and things like that. And then there's a third one, and it's called Holy Sister. I think these were all free because I have an Audible Plus membership, and so it's kind of one of those situations where you think to yourself, okay, if this wasn't free, would I continue the series? I did like book 2, probably just as much as book 1, but I have so many different things that I'm interested in reading right now that I'm not like dying to read book 3, if that makes sense. So I think I gave it another 4 out of 5. The same author, Mark Lawrence, basically I think that I Googled like top fantasy authors or whatever, and I had never heard of Mark Lawrence, so I looked up the stuff that he's written. And he has another series that was free, and this one, the first book is called Prince of Thorns, and instead of it being a magic system surrounding all these young girls, this one is about this young boy. He's like from age 9 to 13 in the first book or whatever. And he's the prince in this kingdom, and this stuff happens when he's very young, and he has these different traumas in his family, and he kind of like escapes like an assassination attempt kind of, and he's out with like a different, it's kind of like his found family, and he's traveling all around kind of like doing his hero's journey, except the twist is he's an anti-hero. Like, he's not a good dude, and it's a kid. He's like age 9 to 13, and he's not being a good kid. And so you're reading this and you're like, why, like this main character, he's so bad, he's not a good guy, like why? But then you find out something when you get to the very end of the book that kind of changes the lens on a lot of what you read, which was interesting. Because I was reading and I was thinking, why do people love this so much? This main character is really not redeemable. Or, you know, there's nothing really that I can say that's good about this main character. And then things kind of change. So because of the way it finished, I was intrigued enough to start the second one. And so the first one is Prince of Thorns, and then the second one is called King of Thorns, and I finished that whole one. And basically the big change for him happens at the end of book 2, or book 1, and so then book 2, there's still like echoes of why things were happening the way in book 1, but in book 2 it's a lot more about like him redeeming himself and making important changes and different things. But this is also magic, so it's fantasy series, if that sounds fun to you. So you have different magics and different kinds of humanoid creatures in there, and I mean, it was good. I don't think I liked it as much as the Red Sister series, but it was fine, and it was free. So for me, because with my Audible membership. So if that sounds good to you, but if you don't like listening about this boy who, for the majority of the first book, you think is okay, he's kind of like a snot-nosed brat. Like this is a really privileged little like kind of brat. You probably won't like it, but I did enjoy the twist. So, okay, next I read 20 Years Later by Charlie Donnelly. And I'm trying to remember because I read a lot of books. This one was also free. Oh yeah, my friend read this and suggested it to me. So this book, there was something that happened 20 years in the past, and this journalist gets some new information about a murder that happened close to 9/11, and it all got kind of like pushed under the rug because of everything that happened with 9/11, because the person who was on trial for murder kind of disappeared during that time. There's been new DNA testing that makes it so they're able to make these different links. So anyway, this journalist, she's investigating this story and she's looking into all this stuff that happened 20 years. I thought it was a pretty good mystery. I also enjoyed the fact that it was surrounding 9/11. There were some interesting twists, stuff that I didn't expect. So this again was free on Audible Plus. So if you were looking for, it says highly rated by listeners for twisty plot, surprising twists, great narration, intriguing storyline, unexpected turns. And then it's a little bit more mixed up too, because this woman who's doing the investigating, she also has some darkness in her past, and you don't know for sure like where she is on the side of the law. And so there's like two puzzles that you're trying to unravel at the same time. So if that sounds fun to you, that was called 20 Years Later. And then I listened to a novel love story by Ashley Poston. This is the same author that wrote one of my 5-star reads from 2024. It's called The 7-Year Slip. This is by that same author. And this one, I think I only gave like a 3. Reason being, so this author likes to write a little bit of magic into her books. This one, the magic is kind of like, I've never watched Gilmore Girls, right? But they have a pretty big following. And I feel like there are people who would love to live in the world of Gilmore Girls. And you just love the atmosphere. You love the characters. You fell in love with, you know, the vibes from the TV show. Let's say you're driving along one night and you enter into that town and you get like stuck in there and you start meeting all your favorite characters, and you maybe start falling in love with one of the people in this show. But then you're like, I can't fall in love. This isn't even real. So what am I even doing? So this person has this conflict because of that. She's thinking to herself, there's no way that this can be real. I'm in the setting of one of my very favorite book series. So there's a mystery as to why how she got there. What is happening? Has she fallen and hit in her head and this is some big dream? But you also know that this author likes to write about magic. So like little magics, not like Harry Potter magic. So the reason I gave this one a 3 and the other one had a 5, I just didn't feel very connected to this character, and I didn't really, I actually wasn't that intrigued by any of the characters in this book, which was very different for me for this author. I felt like her other books were a little funnier, a little more relatable, and this one I just was like, I can't think of like a made up place that I want to go live in for a while and decide I'm just going to get rid of all my responsibilities and just stay there. I don't know. I didn't find myself getting lost into it and feeling like it was very believable. So, and the main like male love interest, I just was kind of like, eh. So that was that for me. This was not a free one, but I read it because I really loved the other one. So do with that what you will. That's a novel love story. The last thing that I read, which I'm in the middle of, is Wind and Truth by Brandon Sanderson. This is book 5 in his Stormlight Archive series. The first 5 books in this series, they're all about this main set of characters. And then I believe he said that this series is going to be 10 books long, but there's going to be a break now. And then the next time he starts writing in this series, it's going to make a jump in time, and it's going to be a whole new set of characters, but it's going to be like still in this world. So this is the last book, in this like part of the series, and it should be wrapping up everyone's storylines. Plus, I just love living in this world. It's very enjoyable. If you've never read Brandon Sanderson, he is great fantasy where you're getting like some high fantasy, you're getting lots of magic systems. He has all these different kinds of magic systems. He's funny. He's just his characters are very well fleshed out. So personally for me, he's probably my favorite fantasy author. I also really love Pierce Brown from the Red Rising series, but probably Sanderson is my favorite one right now. So I'm thoroughly enjoying this. Like, it's supposed to be like a 63-hour book or something if you read it at 1 speed, which I'm not. I usually read things at 1.5 speed, but anyway, fully enjoying that. So if you're reading that along with me, let me know down in the comments below, but let me know what your favorite thing you've read lately or your favorite TV show. On my main channel that I've had for a long time before I've learned about Flosstube, that channel for the last 10 years has been about nail polish, which is why I got into making nail polish. But on that channel, I also do family vlogs, and my husband Tim and I review different TV shows. So if you also like TV shows, we talk about that over there as well. Any kind of information that you might want to know about anything I've talked about today is down in the description bar below. So that's going to be it for today. Happy holidays again to anyone who is celebrating. I hope that you find a little peace and joy during this season, and if it's an especially difficult time for you, I'm sending you love and hugs, and I hope that you also find some peace and find your way through this difficult time. And I really appreciate you all coming here to join me for this video. Thanks for subscribing to the channel so you don't miss my next video, which will be out in about 2 weeks. I film every other week. So yeah, that's gonna be it for today. So thanks for joining me, and I will see you back later. Happy holidays, stay safe and warm. Take care, bye.